Welcome to 90 Day Fiance Trash Talk. I'm your host, comedian Tracy Carnazzo, joined by my co-host, Noelle Winters Herzog.
Hello.
Thank you for being here. We have a great guest today. We were so excited to have him on the podcast, the host of the J Train podcast, Jared Freid.
Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thanks for coming out. We are so excited. It's a brand new season. And there are so many mutants on this episode. I was excited. Did you watch last season? It was a snore.
I always, with 90 Day Fiance, I consider it like an endless loop. It's the best edited show on TV to me because it makes you it never lets you stop watching.
Yeah.
Like, they could keep going. Like, I'll be watching, it'll end, and then it'll go to the same episode, but with them sitting on the bed.
Right. So that's
Like
Pillow Talk.
Pillow Talk. And
Yeah.
I won't even realize that I'm watching the same show again.
Right.
Like,
I know.
that's how good of an editing job they do, is that they literally, there's nowhere to go because they and we'll get into the first episode, I'm sure, but the way they kind of breadcrumb information to you is so smart, so good. They hide all the facts. Like, I mean, that guy who's like the dude who has the Russian girl, like, you know, and then they do coming up, like, and they tell you, like, you're like, how could this go wrong? They kind of treat you as if you're the person online at home meeting people.
Yeah.
You know, they treat you the way I don't know if this is it would be genius if they're like, let's do a show where the viewer is actually getting catfished in the way that the people are getting catfished.
We kind of are. They keep you in suspense so much.
They do.
Their editing is very misleading.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, even so last season we had Robert and Annie and they were at the altar and Robert goes, I'm sorry, I can't do this. And then the scene cuts.
And we're
you're
like,
like,
huh?
did they
Right.
not get married?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you see the whole scene, 400 previews later, Robert goes, I'm sorry, I can't do this until I give you an engagement ring.
Exactly.
Right.
Like, this is what
Right.
they do best. Like, it's Bachelor was always kind of at the kind of invented that, like, it's coming. This one moment's coming. Like Colton jumping the fence. They've done this like a bunch of seasons. Now they have the mom crying for Peter. Like, this is an old reality trick, but like it does feel like 90 Day does that even scene to scene.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
they do it constantly. Teen Mom does not do that.
No, it doesn't.
They
It
don't
never
leave-
does.
And I gotta say, like, it hurts my feelings that they don't do it because they just give us everything. They dump it on us.
They do.
Well, I think Teen Mom also, like, the predicament's already a sad predicament.
Right.
Like, it's not like,
That's
you know,
true.
you're not like, at the end of the season, it's not two people who got married that are happy or supposedly happy. At the end of the Teen Mom, you're still a teen mom.
Right.
You know, like,
You still have
hopefully,
kids and,
you know,
yeah.
hopefully some Instagram money will come
Right.
in. You know, like, it's not like, so like, what are you leading them towards on Teen Mom? You're leading the audience towards the same.
It is true. It is true. But, you know, they could give us a little bit more suspense.
There's no suspense.
And
That's the problem.
the other thing that bothers me is now, you know, with the internet, which is something that, like, when we first started watching Teen Mom, we didn't really have the access to all of the spoilers.
Right.
And all of, like, the real life in time on Instagram. Like, you know, my mom listens to this podcast and she'll ask me, like, okay, but are they still together? Like, did you look it up? And
I don't
know?
look. You have to make you have to decide what type of person you are.
Right.
Are you a lookup person? Are you not a lookup person? Like, it's because for Bachelor, like, I'm not a lookup person. Things get to you by the end of the season.
Sure.
Like, there's certain stories, like there's even a story now that came out a couple weeks ago where, like, it was just out there, but it wasn't like a spoiler. It was like this out there story of, like, oh, a producer, he's fallen for this producer, and it's like, all right, well, if that comes up on the show, I'll be surprised to see how that kind of comes out. But I'm like, Reality Steve I have no interest in that. Like, I don't.
You don't want
I
any
like
spoilers.
I like living in the, you know, reality that's been created. Like, that's
Sure.
you know, reality TV gets a bad rap because people are like, oh, it's not real. It's not real. It's like nothing's real. Everything's a produced version
Of course.
you know, like, even social media, like, you're watching a produced version of people. So, like, you know, so, like, the idea of, like, you know, I like to live in the reality that the producers have built for me.
Sure.
Which is why, you know, 90 Day Fiance, I'm sure there's stuff to find out.
There's a lot of stuff, and I get so disappointed when I find it out. And then I'm like, well, this isn't real. And now I can't believe this storyline whatsoever.
Well, it loses the value of, like, that guy saying, I can't do this. And then he goes, I got to give you an engagement. And it's a fun thing. Like, a couple of those stories are going to bear fruit.
Sure.
You know, a couple of those cliffhangers are going to be the one where you go, oh my God. The other ones you're going to immediately forgive and forget because you're like, you've gone on this journey with them.
Well, we're so lucky to have, we're blessed, I think, to have Before the 90 Days, season 4, episode 1.
What's this difference between Before the 90 Days and 90 Day Fiance? This is before they leave to meet the people?
No, so this is before. So 90 Day Fiance, usually the people have a K-1 visa already. So before the 90 days, the difference is that they're just going to meet the people. So a lot of them are meeting them for the first time. You can't get a K-1 visa unless you've met the person in person.
Oh, okay. So this makes more sense. So
now this is why, you know, are they getting catfish? We don't know because they've never met them face to face.
So usually a 90 Day Fiance, we're meeting two people who have done the flight to Kenya, done the flight to Russia, like have met, have had sex supposedly.
Yeah, maybe.
You know? So, and then this is before the 90 Day. They've met online. They've never met.
Exactly. Yeah. And they've decided that they're going to start the K-1 visa process.
I got you. So they would, if they went to the next level, they would then be on 90 Day Fiance.
Exactly.
That's why Before the 90 is the funnest.
It's the funnest because, you know, a lot of the regular 90 Day Fiance, like, okay, he's real. You know that. You've met him.
Sure.
You've been dating him for 3 years online. Like, this isn't fun.
Right.
And you can take a vacation to Russia. Anyone can get a passport, go to Russia.
Right.
And visit their girlfriend.
Exactly.
Supposedly. Okay.
So we start with Ed. Ed is 54. He's from San Diego, and he's a photographer, and he calls himself Big Ed. Big Ed is a name he literally gave himself, but he's 4'11". And he said that it's ironic, and that's why it's so funny that he calls himself Big Ed.
He's also like structurally sound. Like he's structurally a bigger guy. Like it's not like it would, if him calling himself Big Ed at 4'11", I'm okay with that.
Right, like he's not petite.
No, he's
just short.
Yeah, he's just a shorter guy, but he is like a mountain of a man.
Sure,
like,
he's square. So he has a deformity, a syndrome or something where some of his
he does.
Yes. So some of his spinal things are fused together.
Oh, I had no idea. I thought that was just like his look. Like I thought he was just like a like I was like no, but I'm serious. Like I was like, oh, he's got like the same thing I do where you have like a broad chest and like not a lot of neck. Like I didn't know.
I don't know if I would say the same thing you have. I don't know.
Well, I thought he was just like a broad chested, short torsoed guy. Like,
right.
I thought I didn't like considering it's a deformity, like he looks good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
That was very nice of you.
Yeah.
Listen. It's funny because Noelle and I were talking before the podcast and we were like, you know, when we saw like the previews, right? Like the little clip, we were like, oh, this guy's going to be a mess.
Sure.
And then as you watch the episode, you're kind of like.
He's the least of
it.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so many
He seems to be doing nice.
He's fine. He seems fine.
He seems to be, we don't know how he has a child.
Right. So he's 4'11". He has a dog named Teddy.
My favorite.
I know, which is Noelle's favorite name for a girl, a boy, or an animal.
Okay. She
just gets very excited. You see how giggly she gets?
I love the name.
Sometimes she calls me Teddy. I'm not sure what's going on there. But that's his best friend. Teddy is his 100% best friend. He was married for 2 years, and then he cheated on his wife.
Craziest part of the whole
Let that
episode.
digest.
I mean, it happens. Who did he
Jared.
cheat with? Like
Jared. No, I get that, but like, I marry Ed. And I'm like, okay, well, I love him, right?
Right.
Because he's a great guy. He's really cool. And then Ed decides maybe I'm not good looking enough for him.
Right.
And I'm not interested.
See, this is a very personal view of cheating.
Yeah.
That's not, cheating isn't like that. Like, I don't think, like, it's like women do this a lot where like did you see Lady Gaga is dating a guy now?
Yes.
Yes.
And Lady Gaga's boyfriend's ex wrote this whole article being like what to do when your boyfriend your ex dates Lady Gaga, and it's like he didn't look at Lady Gaga and go, oh, thank God it's nothing like that fucking bitch.
Right.
Like that's not how you look at the next person.
Right. It's like when Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce.
Yeah, it's not like I want this girl's better than Beyonce. It's just this is a different person than my
I feel better.
Because like
right?
There's an old saying that's not exactly very nice, but for every hot girl For every hot girl that you see, there's a guy who's tired of fucking her.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, for
so
sure.
that's
Yep.
an old saying.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
Jay-Z and Beyonce.
not a means. That's not a nice saying, but for Ed, where it's like, he.
They were together for 2 years, Jared.
But there's nothing more delusional than a guy who has a girlfriend too. Like, a guy who, especially 2 years in, like you have a woman telling you you're good looking and valuable, and then after 2 years you're like, well, maybe I am good looking and
Right.
valuable. Even Ed does that. Even
True.
Ed. And what is Chris Rock's line? You're only as there's a line. You're only as faithful as your options. So
Right. Well,
that
Ed had
makes
an
me feel
option.
terrible.
I'm just saying that's
This is why I'm mean to my husband. I'm telling you, I don't let him know how good he is.
add spice to
This is
it.
why.
Yeah.
Like
Well-
you suck. Nobody will ever want you.
Yeah, like Ed's putting mayonnaise in his hair because
Right.
he's obviously very vain.
No, he is.
He is though.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's get into it. So he has a daughter named Tiffany. She's 29 years old.
And the daughter's cute and nice.
She is
and
cute.
She's
seems
like
great. Yeah.
regular,
Yeah.
adorable, right? Now he's eating some hard-boiled eggs, and I'll tell you what I had the problem with that. He overcooked those hard-boiled eggs. They had the green ring.
They were
around the
rubber.
yolk.
Okay.
They're also Noelle doesn't know about eggs.
Well,
They're
I don't
always-
eat eggs.
They're always rubber. But do you eat hard-boiled eggs?
I've had an arbor.
You ever see when the green is around the yolk?
Yes.
It means you overcook them.
Okay.
And I was like, Ed, do better. You're on TV.
Wow, this is another thing where it's like, you ever cook something and put it on Instagram?
Yes.
Everyone looks at your cooked food and then is like, how could you not make it the way I like it?
It's so true. Everyone's
And it's
a
like,
critic.
yeah, maybe Ed's a hard-boiled egg guy. Ed also puts mayonnaise in his hair. So he does a lot of things I don't do.
Yes.
Ed is a hard-boiled egg. He meets Rosemary. She's
Right.
23. Love the name, by the way. I was like, what a little Italian
Yeah,
girl.
right? Rosemary.
She's 23. She's from the Philippines. They met on Facebook 3 months ago. And they're in love. They're
Okay.
totally in love. I don't think she's using him to come to America.
No, it's a really legit.
JK. So he gets on his motorcycle and he puts his dog in his backpack with the astronaut lens on the backpack.
This is why I feel like he's like my person.
No, I know, but don't you get scared when you see this? Aren't you like, what happens if you fall off your motorcycle? Do you smush the baby?
Of course.
You smush
I
the
mean,
puppy.
him too. Yeah,
Right,
like
but
you're more
also-
worried about the dog.
I care
than
more about
him.
the dog.
Right, but he has a
then
helmet
Ed.
on. The dog doesn't have a helmet on.
So you're saying he should make the dog a helmet?
That's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Okay.
That is exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
He sends her gifts every single week. So he spent over $5,000 on her in 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
but she never has received anything because she lives in such a remote area that they don't have deliveries. But he still keeps sending them because he just thinks it's taking a while.
But they have the internet,
yes.
but they don't have deliveries.
Yeah, well, there's a lot wrong with Rosemary. She also the connection goes out every time he mentions that something
Her
off.
past.
Right.
Yeah, like every time he's like, "Do you have any exes?" And she's like, "I can't hear you."
What?
You know,
Hello?
like,
That's
hello,
Tracy's
hello?
famous line. My mom's
my
calling.
mom's calling me.
My
I
mom's
can't-
calling. I can't hear you.
I gotta go.
Yeah, that's how you
Like-
know you're like, this ain't gonna work out.
So he goes to the UPS store. He greets Ryan, first name basis. He's
Hi,
like,
Ryan.
Hey, Ed. Hey, Ryan. Because he goes to the UPS store so much to send her stuff.
He said her dad a grill. Like, come on.
What are you doing?
Well, it's upsetting because you're like, it's so funny that like this, there's some woman out there that wants this attention from Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like from specifically Ed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's just chosen to shower it on someone who's seemingly being dishonest with him from everything we know.
Right, but also he said that he's spending more money on shipping the gifts
Yeah.
Than
the
the
gifts.
gifts.
At that point, do you just send some cash?
You would think.
He's got to like change the cash into whatever her cash is. The
There's a Western
version.
Union.
Yeah.
Western Union
You're
type
figuring-
of thing. I don't know. I felt for Ed because I didn't know about the cheating part of it, that he cheated on his ex
Yeah.
for 2 years. But it all makes sense that someone that is, he's vain, and anyone can be vain.
That's actually, I don't know. I guess it's like nothing that I really thought of. Like Ed is vain, but
Sure.
you're absolutely right
He
on that
is,
one.
though.
So he had, this is his first girlfriend since he was with his wife 28 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's just been him and Teddy. And
And his daughter.
yeah, but mostly him and Teddy.
Right.
So he brings Teddy to his mom's house because she's going to watch Teddy while he goes to the Philippines, and Teddy loses her or his mind. I don't know if Teddy's a girl or a boy. And flipped out to go to grandma's house. That was great. Love that scene. And he's going to stay at her house. And that's what his mother has a problem with. She's like, you're going to stay at her house?
Like, that's the issue?
Yeah, well, isn't the mother from Mexico?
Right.
Yeah.
But so the mother's like understands this whole like moving to another country life, which was, I thought that was interesting that she was like, I think it's funny to see the mom who moved to America.
Yeah.
Kind of
judge.
Judge. Yeah, like him flying someone to the country. And also for him, it might feel like he probably has rationalized it with like, well, mom came here out of nowhere. Mom made the adjustment. So why can't Rosemary? Why can't,
I mean, it's a little different situation, but he's not seeing it like that. He's saying like, this is the exact same thing. Also, he has a sensitive skin condition. So he said that he's going to stay at her house, but he's going to bring high thread count sheets. They have to be over 1,000. And he just brought all of his own stuff, his own pillows.
This is where you and him relate.
And I'm like, Ed, I know you because I am you.
Yeah.
When I stay at a hotel, I need 8 pillows on my bed.
Okay.
Even if it's the Super 8.
Okay.
I will call the front desk. I will request more pillows. They will be like, we have 1 pillow per guest.
Sure.
The last time we were in a hotel together, we had to go get mattress toppers because Tracy needed a mattress.
I can't sleep on a bad mattress.
Well, when I heard that, I didn't know that you had similar issues.
Me and Ed are the same.
When I heard Ed's issue, I was like, oh, his mom was too much.
Right. His mom.
I kind of like had this whole. I actually was surprised he lived out of his mom's house. Like,
yes,
hearing all the kind of particulars about how Ed lives and how he needs the thread count sheet, I was like, oh, this mom and him are like, they could be on another show about overbearing moms.
Oh, kind of like
Smothered.
Smothered, which was. Is that coming back?
It's coming back.
That was beautiful.
It's coming back. I actually had some inside info on
really?
Oh,
that is
all right.
That show just made me.
It's coming back, and it's coming more smothered than ever.
Ooh,
even better.
Yeah. I love it. Now, also, I want to make one statement about thread count.
Sure.
Thread count does not necessarily mean it's the softest sheet, Ed. So Ed's just being a snot on this one because you can get lower thread count sheets that are even softer.
Yes.
Like pre-washed.
Yeah, it's just the kind of cotton it is.
Got it.
So you don't need 1,000 thread count. I have some sheets that are 750 thread count that are nicer than my higher thread count.
I think
knowing
the number you need is enough to know that you're a pain in the ass.
That's true.
So
yeah. I mean, listen, I'm not handicapped. So here we are. So he tells his mom's super worried about this. And he's like, well, I bought her a ring. And his mom's like, oh, great. Just top that off.
Return it.
Right. So she did. She literally said return it. His daughter won't even speak to him since last month. So he starts crying over Tiffany.
But I mean, these people don't give a fuck about their kids.
They really don't though.
They really don't.
And I understand, like, the girl is, what, 28 years old? Yeah, she's 29.
Yep.
I get it.
Yeah, I get him not wanting to, like, not caring what Tiffany. Yeah. I understand that because
she's a grown up.
There's another character we're gonna get to, but like, I think something that that we can't understand that a lot of these people are kind of face to face with is, oh, I'm gonna be alone forever.
Right.
Like my kids move on to their lives. They're gonna have significant others. I'm living at home. I'm in this empty house with Teddy, my dog, that I put in the backpack.
Well, it's not empty if Teddy's there.
Yeah. Right. So like that's the reality I'm looking at. So like he looks at his daughter who's like, I won't talk to you, and he's like, well, you don't understand
that I'm alone.
That I'm alone.
At the end
You're
of the day,
29. You have 29-year-old friends that have no wife, no kids, or no husband, no kids. And then they start to get kids and you evolve together. Like this is all like societal. Like a lot of the reason you go out and wear pants every day is that people would look at you crazy for not wearing pants. It's the same reason people get married a lot of times, where they go, well, everyone's getting married. I don't want to be alone.
Yeah, and he really doesn't want to be alone, and I understand, like, when you get older, I guess you don't want to really be alone. This
is why women have babies around the same age.
Yeah,
that's
they want to be able to take off. Like I have friends that they were like, their wives were all timing kids together because they're like, We want to be able to take work off together and walk around with the babies together. Like
sounds so much
instead
fun.
of be
That
alone.
sounds like the worst life I could live.
That's literally
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
nightmare come alive.
yes.
That I have to walk around with a baby, with other
With
women,
other people with
a baby,
babies.
and we just walk around like that is
God, that's my idea of hell.
that is what hell's gonna
Yeah.
be
You
like.
could be alone with the baby putting in a DVD.
I'd rather be alone with Teddy. Honestly,
I'd definitely rather be alone with Teddy. This is when we find out his mom was from Mexico and his dad was in the Air Force. They met when they were young. He brought her here. And so I did a little bit of research, and the syndrome is called KFS syndrome. That is what Ed has. Now, we see him in the next scene. He's in a...
That's the reason.
That's the reason his neck is a little wonky.
Oh,
KFS
I swear to
syndrome.
God, I just thought that was how. Like I was like, he's doing it with his look. Like that's what
He's
he's
killing
working it
it.
out.
He's in a blue satin robe, right? He takes a spatula and a giant jar of mayo, and he makes himself an Ed salad sandwich. You're welcome. You're welcome for that. So
My dad used to put mayo in my hair when I was a kid. All
Why?
the time.
it's a thing. It's a
like
conditioner.
a thing, a conditioner.
Because it's just
That's
oil.
what it is.
It's
And
just
I have
oil,
never
yeah.
eaten mayonnaise ever. And I think it just skeeved me out so bad.
Did he use a spoon or a spatula?
No, he used his hands with gloves. He definitely didn't use a spatula.
But Ed, he's putting it in, and you're watching this whole process of him put it in, and
It's
his hair is
nauseating.
also jet black, so he's getting his hair colored.
Well, it's because he said the reason he's doing the mayo is because he's dyeing his hair and it's irritating his scalp.
Right.
Because yada, 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 sensitive skin condition.
Wouldn't you think though, like a guy with a sensitive skin condition would have a relationship with his dermatologist, and like there would be like some sort of serum or
Right, like
cream
not a
You would
mayonnaise.
think,
that it
yes.
wouldn't be a mayonnaise. You would think.
Yeah.
You're
Yes.
giving Ed so much credit right now. You're
Well,
really...
I think the vanity is like a big deal with Ed. Like I wasn't as convinced until you said he cheated. Like he needs the affection of others. He
Yes.
needs someone to tell him.
Sure.
He needs this feeling. Like that's why he's sending gifts. That's why he needs Marianne or Mary, whatever,
Rosemary.
Rosemary or whatever.
Now-
to say thank you for sending the
Sure.
gift
Yeah,
that she
even though-
never got. Yeah.
Do we really think she's not getting them? I don't know. But you know what he does need? He needs a little bit of a Q-tip because we see him in the next scene. He's on the computer. He's talking to her, and he still has mayo in his ear. And I can't...
Stop it. I didn't even
I
notice.
can't look away. This is all I'm like,
Yeah.
Ed, you have a little... Ed, do you want to wipe the mayo? No. Okay. Just keep chatting. So they video chat, and then we find out during the video chat that she has a son that calls him...
Daddy.
Yeah, that was a problem.
That's Prince.
I got to tell you, that is all of the other stuff is
I
like,
know.
whatever. I mean,
Yeah,
his
yeah. Now- but now
29-year-old
you're messing with a
adult
kid.
daughter is mad. Okay, well, I hope you feel better. You have a 4-year-old son that's calling a stranger on the internet daddy.
Well, that's when you kind of get into, especially considering the information that we learned that the phone cuts out every time he
Sure.
brings up that she has 5,000 Facebook, friends and
Right.
asking about, her life. This could be the grift. Like this is the same thing as like a gypsy putting a baby in your hands and then taking your wallet. Like
Yeah,
this is kind of
right.
the internet version to me. Like I know that's not fair to put on Rosemary, but
No, it's
considering the information we have, like if we're gonna be protective of anyone, like we're meeting Ed. We're
Right.
getting to know Ed. We're meeting the family. He seems pretty genuine. We don't know Rosemary. All we know is that she puts a kid on screen and he goes, "Daddy, daddy, daddy."
Right.
And we know all of our emotional sensors go off and we go, yeah, this is a way to
This
like
isn't okay. It's
That was-
manipulation.
It's manipulation.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like there were little tiny flags that I didn't really care about, and this was the big
Yes.
red flag. So
like daddy, daddy, daddy. Hey, are there any other daddies? Sorry, the phone's going out. I gotta go.
She's
like
like,
that's
what
like
do you-
kind of what
Mom's
it is.
calling.
what do you do when you see a nice man on the computer?
Right. You say, "Hi, Daddy."
That's
Just say
right,
yeah,
yeah.
and daddy could mean nothing to the kid.
He doesn't even speak
No,
English.
but
yeah.
it pulls on Ed's heartstrings, I'm
Sure,
sure.
sure. So now we find out that
Like Ed should look at the screen and go, "Hi, good to see you. Can you put your mom on? Hey, we
Right.
got to talk about." Like that's the moment
we have to talk
and-
about not doing
But
that.
this is the
Right.
problem with long distance relationships in general. Like anytime you live more than an hour away from each other, all these conversations get put off till the next time you see each other. So it
Yes.
doesn't matter like that she's in Kathmandu. It doesn't matter. it could be Cleveland and he'd still be going, Yeah, it's a little prep, but once we see each other in person, we can discuss it. Then you don't discuss it because you're on vacation.
No, but he
Right.
likes it.
Oh, he loves it.
Absolutely.
Yeah?
But
He
like,
likes
I'm
it.
sure he has to rationalize. He likes it, but he has to rationalize that I've known this woman 3 months online, and the kid calls me dad.
Again, you're giving Ed too much
But
credit.
again,
I think people
his
and-
ego. He loves
Yeah,
it.
he really
like
does love it.
stroking
Attention,
his
yeah.
ego.
And not only that, we find out Ed's been catfishing her. Oh my God, Ed's been catfishing her. And how could that be? Since they're literally speaking face to face, you could see Ed's entire being in
Right.
one screen. We see her. He told her that he is 5'2", but he is 4'11".
See, I think to me, height is one of those things where it's like, this isn't catfishing to me.
Right.
This is like, kitten fishing. Like he is not, because 5'2" to 4'11", I'm with him.
Sure.
I think there's
Sure.
height. Like if we're going to talk about height, I think there's height ranges that you can be.
Yes.
He's a little nugget.
If it's
Whether he's 5'2" or
Right,
he's
it's not
4'11",
he's a baby man.
but I think 5'8" to 5'5"
Is the same.
Is the same.
So do I.
Same.
I think 5'4" to 5'2" is the same.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I think 5'2" to 4'11" is fine.
So do
That's what
I.
I'm saying.
You're
That's-
not-
this
Yeah.
is
Are
you're
you gonna
within the
notice?
range.
Nope.
You're within the range. Like I'm 5'8.5".
Right.
I tell people I'm 5'8" because
Okay.
I'm always like undersell, over deliver.
You
like,
want them to be surprised by the half an inch.
I always I have people always say to me, they go, "You look taller than 5'8". Now I'm playing the mind games of like the magic eye, because
Sure.
it's like, oh, taller than 5'8", and then you think, are you 6 foot? No, I'm 5'8" and a half.
Right.
I'm actually 6'5". That's what I meant.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So that's kind of like with that was like that to me, like Ed even saying that to the camera with a smirk, like I kind of got it. Like to me,
I think that's an okay lie. If she said she's 5'2", I'd be like,
So
you
do
know
I.
what? Same.
Yep.
I put a little lift in my shoe,
Yep.
and here we are. Everything's fine. What is she going to do? She sees him on the screen.
She knows
says,
about the Hanesh.
Yeah.
She knows about
Yep.
it, and she says, let's do it.
I
Right.
think
You
there's
know
been
what?
too much been played up of the "you don't look like you said you looked" thing. Like,
Right.
people want to lay blame. They don't want to make it their responsibility. They want to say, well, he said he was 5'2" and he's actually 5'1". And it's
Sure.
like, well, you didn't look at the pictures, you didn't see the face, you didn't have the
Right.
the
Also, if you liked
messages.
him-
Yeah,
yeah.
if you liked
If you
them,
liked him, you wouldn't
like
care.
you would have. This would have came up. You would have said,
Maybe he thinks he's 5'2". So he's worried about. Oh, he asked her on the phone cat, why do you love me? And she's like, what? I can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
My mom's calling me. I gotta go. He's worried about her ex.
It's also a weird question. Like,
yeah, because
again,
you're
that's-
forcing someone to tell you how great you are.
again, it's his vanity.
I do
where
that
he's
every
like,
single day.
so true.
Why do you love me? It's like, well, if you didn't feel like this person loved you, then you wouldn't be asking this.
Sure.
If you felt loved, you wouldn't ask this question.
Right,
no
like-
one. People who love each other say "I love you," or they say or they have the feeling of love. They don't sit there going, "Give me a top 10 list before you go."
I do
Tell
that.
me all the reasons.
That's what I do to Noelle. I'll be like, tell me 5 reasons why you like me.
Yeah.
Tell me the
Uh-huh.
5 prettiest
You
things
guys
about
need,
me.
You guys need a relationship podcast between you two.
We really
Figure
should.
this shit out.
We need a counselor. Now, this is where it gets even weirder. Now, Ed doesn't trust her. He wants her to take an STD test before he goes to see her because he's a germaphobe.
Okay. I mean, I'm a germaphobe.
You're not a germaphobe because guess what, Ed? You are going to be staying in the middle of nowhere.
Where's she from?
She's from the Philippines. and
Right.
she's
Like
in
he
a-
wouldn't be going to the Philippines
No,
if he
because
was
you know
a
what?
germaphobe.
I will not be going to the Philippines to a remote location.
No, me either.
Yeah, this is the problem with self-diagnosis. Like, this is the problem with Googling what's wrong with me, and then you go, "Oh, I'm a germaphobe."
Sure.
There's a
No.
real germaphobe out there that doesn't leave the house unless they're in a bubble. Like it's
Exactly.
gotta be
No,
an
I
insult
totally,
to a germaphobe.
I totally agree with you on that, though.
Also, just making sure someone doesn't have STDs is not being a germaphobe.
No,
That's
Right, you're
safe
just
sex.
being safe.
yeah,
Yeah,
just saying.
And that's
now,
okay.
we meet Avery. She's 32 years old. She's from Seattle, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
She loves yoga,
Mm.
but she's a dental assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And she loves cooking on the internet, but crazy twist, it's all infused with cannabis.
She thinks
What?
that's so edgy.
She's so edgy.
She's
She's
so
so
edgy.
different.
Let me put this cannabis leaf in my salad. Cool.
Wow.
Wow.
How'd you do that? Are you high?
It's like, what's wrong with
It has
you?
so many medicinal properties,
Right,
though.
okay.
She has 2 daughters. Scarlett is her 10-year-old, and Silver is her 2-year-old. What do you think about the name?
Moron.
Silver.
I feel for this woman. She's not gonna get a lot of empathy.
Yeah, I mean, she's...
Like I can feel it from you guys.
Yeah.
I think like because
And
she's
we're usually like girl power.
No.
but she's hot. That's her
well,
problem.
she's super
Oh,
hot.
yeah, of
that's,
course.
That's her
Super
issue
hot.
on this show. You know, like I think like her issue is gonna be that like the audience is gonna be like, why are you like Ed is kind of the
Ed
person-
needs this.
That's the person we imagine when you go, hey, there's a TV show where people meet people from
Totally.
far off lands online and they go meet and you go, and in your head you're drawing the picture of Ed. We don't draw the picture of this.
No, of
woman,
Avery. Avery's
of
hot.
Avery, and then it's like now you're trying to like figure out what's going on with Avery.
Well,
There's
there's
always
something wrong
There's
with her.
always something.
Right, of course.
So she said that she got pregnant with Silver while she had an IUD in, and then she sold everything, moved in with Silver's dad. They broke up, and now she again had to do it all over again.
Right.
So she met Ash. He's 38. He lives in Australia, and they met on Instagram. But he's really from a small island off of Africa, so he's not Australian per se.
Right.
And he's a relationship coach. He helps women move through their relationships. And she's going to be going to Australia.
That's already like a manipulative position,
What do you mean?
like a relationship coach.
Oh,
like
for sure.
Sure.
You only give women like I do dating advice on my podcast, and we have a lot of women that write in, and it's like I don't get paid by them individually, you know. So like my advice, like I just like give out to the ether and like take it or leave it, whatever. The minute you're in this thing where it's like you're getting paid by a person, like I don't know, I don't. And then you're telling people you're a relationship coach. Like I don't go around saying like I'm a relationship coach. I do like I'll give advice as if it was like a sister. I don't know. There's something like
what is
off.
what are his credentials that
His
he calls
credentials
himself?
that he's a master manipulator.
Sure.
Right.
Well, that's what he
that's-
should be called.
And it's like also if you're dealing in the world of DMs, like the way they met, like it is interesting because I am going a lot by like this season with Avery, you know, like because you can see what road this is going down. I think anyone that meets people in DMs, like what usually happens is they're up for like that amount of effort.
Sure.
Like they didn't even sign up for an online account. Like Ed was like on Facebook and
he
then,
was
like,
actively
That's
looking for
true.
a
looking
relationship.
for someone. Like DMs is like it always feels like when someone meets someone in the DMs that the responsibility is always put on the other person, like the person who's want to tries the most. There's always someone in the back seat of that whole thing going, well, you were DMing me and
Right.
you were responding. I was just sending out flames to your hot pictures, you know, like
This guy's
this one
gonna be
feels
like a
it's going to be rough.
Master
So,
gaslighter. for
Jerry
sure.
is her ex, and he's in the
Yes.
weed business, and they're still very good friends. And so she goes by his house to talk about the different weed that she's going to put in her new recipes.
Right. Give me a break.
Who cares? So this guy Ash, he talks to women clients 24/7.
Right.
He's up all hours of the night talking to women clients.
But that's also the problem is like there's a big like it's blurry. The lines are blurred. You're talking to women clients on DM, like
right.
not
Like, don't
even
you have a
over-
professional interface?
Shouldn't there
Right.
be like an email? Like, and if this wasn't like, are you answering like as you're going out? Like,
Right. Or is it a consultation? Like usually I think a relationship counselor or a relationship expert, right? You would say like, okay, on Wednesday we have an appointment at 1 and let's talk on the phone for 1 hour
Yeah.
and it's, you
Right.
know, $50 or
the fact
whatever
that
it
you're
is.
just like talking through this, like, how do people pay them? Like through Venmo? Like,
right.
is
And then
that-
what is it? Like, are you just all day long helping these people?
I mean, I give people advice on my Patreon, and that's a tier that I have.
yeah. But it's very clear.
It's clear, and
Right.
people will ask me for advice over DM, and I'll go, hey, this isn't where I'll do it, and I've had people go to me, well, let me throw you $5 over Venmo.
no,
and
I have a thing already.
and I go, there's a
Right.
thing. And I go, and also like, and this is the hardest part to explain is that like, I'm not doing this for your $5 to be tossed at me on the way out. Like,
Sure.
I don't really need your $5. I'm looking for you to get involved in a whole program where I put out podcasts and I put out, you know, like there's a whole,
Yes.
list of things that like services that are on Patreon. Like when this guy's doing the DM, like relationship, like it's like all of it seems sketchy. And then to pick one of them to
Right.
go, okay, well,
Yes.
we're a relationship
Is
now.
it right? But is it one? We don't know. She's broken up with him 3 times because of, weird things that she's seen. So she goes out with her friend Jen and Josh, right?
Yes.
And she tells him that she's going to Australia in 2.5 weeks because he will not get a visa to visit the U.S. So he was going to come there and he doesn't want to. And he said that he can't because they won't approve his visa for a vacation because he has had bankruptcy in his past. Because it's not his fault.
It never is.
Relax. It's not his fault. He's had his old business partner robbed him and he owed a whole bunch of money because of that.
Just like the Real Housewives of New Jersey. Same thing.
So, yeah, no, it's the same. So she's mad that he lied. And then what happened? So that was like one red flag.
Right.
And then what happened was one day, it was the weirdest thing. She
Yeah.
went onto Instagram she went onto Facebook. She noticed that he wasn't in a relationship on Facebook and that upset her. So she went to Instagram and she checked his Instagram and only the pictures of her had gotten deleted. Now, number one, if you've never met this woman before, why are you posting pictures? Jared,
This is all
you
just a way,
are dating some girl.
Yeah.
You've never met her before.
Right.
Yeah.
You are just posting
Random
selfies of her?
Yeah, it's fake. It's a way
it's
of
a
it's a
manipulation
way,
tactic.
it's a manipulation.
BS.
It's a way of saying, well, you're on my Instagram.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
you always have that
Right.
as your backup. But also she's a part of this. So like let's not
Of course, no. She's
Yeah.
not. She's too smart for this. So now, he said that what happened was when her pictures got deleted, only her pictures got deleted.
was
He had
hacked.
gotten hacked, and
by a
they.
crazy woman. Like
Of course,
no.
of
Well,
course.
he showed her the emails that he got hacked.
but you can
That was
create
proof.
all that stuff.
You can create stuff that's not real on the
She's
internet.
believing what she wants to believe.
But
is
that's
true.
the thing. When you tell me she's mad at him
Right.
for not being in a Facebook relationship, she's looking towards the easy things to assure her lack of confidence.
Yes.
So instead of going, hey, are we in a relationship? Hey, she's going, well, it says in a relationship, so we're good.
Yes.
right,
that.
but it's like with who? Question mark.
Also,
Exactly.
none of that matters.
Well,
Well, it's all ways to not have the hard conversation.
Yes.
You're opting for the
petty.
Yes.
signals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. So now we move on to Jeffrey. He's 41. He's from Knoxville, Tennessee.
Jeffrey has crazy eyes. I just want to put
he
this
has
out there.
The craziest
Yes.
eyes. He has also the craziest nipple tattoos.
I didn't see the
Where the hell
tattoos.
was I?
He
when
has
this came
tribal
on?
nipple like tattoos around his nipples. It's just so beautiful. What art.
So this was the Tennessee. He's a good-looking guy.
Good looking
too.
guy.
Yeah.
He has giant dogs that are the size of horses.
I love them.
And he's a landlord. That is his job. He's
That's
a
what my
landlord. He
mother's
owns a whole
job
bunch
is.
of properties. He has sons. He has 2 from one marriage, and then he has a 4-year-old from another another relationship. And he met Varia
Varia.
from. She's 32. She's a radio personality in Russia.
Right.
And he also has a crazy centipede tattoo. It's like a human centipede tattoo
Where was I?
across his arm and all down his arm.
He also says he has a bunch of failed marriages. So I
Okay.
don't know what that
So
meant.
now we meet Dakota and Paxton.
Yes.
These are his sons from the first relationship.
Right.
And we find out that his son died. His son Chasm died.
Very sad.
He was 1 year old. He had a seizure. They put him in a coma, and then he died.
That seems to be his whole
His sob story.
That's his
story.
thing.
That's
Yeah.
his
Yep.
because he brings it up. That's kind of the breadcrumbing that they do with him.
Yes.
They're like, and what happened?
Dead baby.
And then what
Yeah.
happened? What happened? And then we
Yes.
finally get the information. But he's got these other kids. Like, it is. The whole thing feels like he had a phone in front of him, and there was one button that said 90-Day Fiance and another button that said therapist, and he chose 90-Day Fiance.
Well, you know what?
Like,
I'm glad he did.
well,
well, yeah, for sure.
Thank you so much,
think,
Jeffrey.
But it's so much of this feels like he's talking to the wrong person.
Yeah.
Like, so.
But that's why he has Varia.
But also, is this just like, is that his story? Is this like his like ticket almost onto 90 Day
Don't you watch
Fiancé?
Chopped?
You know
Do you
what I
guys watch
mean?
Chopped?
Yeah, of course.
I've seen it.
Okay, so Chopped, everyone that's on Chopped, it's just a
I
chef
know.
competition. And then all of a sudden they do like this little bio. It's like 1 or 2 minutes. Everyone has everyone's dead.
Someone's
Totally.
dead. Right.
The whole
But-
family
yeah.
died.
But this show, you don't need that.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
here
like-
we're
like-
bringing it. If you have it also, it's amazing.
Yes.
You're getting in.
Well, then he meets with his like ex. who's
Right.
the-
So he meets. So he's gonna go to Russia in 5 days. He's known this girl just for a few months, and he goes to meet up with Olga, his Russian friend,
Right.
from work.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
has this old
From
Russian
landlording?
woman that he's like friends with, and
But
Olga.
he's friends with her from work.
Yeah, and Olga's also the most Russian person ever, where she
Ever.
doesn't trust any other Russians.
She's Russian.
She
like she
can't
is
trust-
Russia.
and she's like, I don't know. Like she's like, it was so funny that she was like, I know. It sounded like Olga knew everything about
Russia.
Yeah.
Russia and Russian people. Like
And the
anyone,
scamming.
Yeah, she was like, this is not gonna work out well. And then she goes, and the baby. Like she's now being like, and he lost something.
Everyone's
close.
brought up
Like,
the
everyone's
baby.
brought
Yes.
it up.
Well, she's alluded that she came to the country the same way
Yeah.
for her child. So,
So we find Olga. She's making crepes.
which I want to go to Olga's house.
I know.
for
I was
this.
like, what is she
Very
putting?
nice teacup set.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
Very
is-
nice kitchen.
Okay, honestly, what is she putting in the crepes though?
I don't
Are they
know.
sweet crepes? Are they savory crepes?
I bet they're sweet.
What do you think is in them?
Russian.
Like a cheese?
It's got to be
Fruit?
a cheese. Definitely some kind of like sour cream.
What are your
sauce.
favorite crepes? Do you eat crepes?
Not a big crepe guy. Like
Really?
at that point, I'd rather have a pancake.
Okay,
you
but
know,
it like no like banana Nutella. I mean, I'm not a
I
big.
mean, that's fine. You could put banana Nutella on anything and it tastes good.
I
True.
just want like butter and like cinnamon sugar.
Okay, I mean, we could
That's
ask Olga for that.
delicious.
Also,
Yeah.
I loved her outdoor furniture.
Yeah, me too.
I was like, this lady has it together.
Uh huh.
She had a whole life going on.
She really
It
did.
It didn't seem like she needed him to be over. Like it seemed like he would be like, "Oh, what else are we gonna do today?" She'd be like, "I have other things going on."
Right, like, do you see my
Yeah, like,
beautiful house?
yeah,
Do you
Right.
see my decor?
I don't need you here.
I don't
Yeah,
need you. Look
have
at
to
this
see
tea
her, but
set.
I wanted to hear more of her story, like to give
Me too.
to why she was like, because she was immediately like, "This ain't gonna." Don't
Right.
Do this.
She tells him
Yes.
like she warns him basically, right? And then he tells her, "Well, I bought a ring," and she says, "This is a quote, frickin' frack."
Frickin' frack.
Love it.
She said, "Listen, this girl is using you. She's an opportunist."
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, I mean, anyone that's in here's the other thing. Anyone that's in any type of entertainment in another country that's using like, I don't trust them
right,
10 times
Sure,
more. Like
sure.
it's like her being a radio personality there. Like she's like, I'll just like that's you can only go so far as radio personality in Russia.
sure. And now, right, you want to expand. You want to come to the
Yeah.
big country. Olga said, is she speaking English? Does she speak English well? And he's like, yeah, she speaks great, because he thought these were great points.
Right.
And she's like, yep, there you go.
Yep.
She is manipulating you, and she's using English to come to America. And so Olga explains this whole thing about how, well, she's a city girl.
Mm-hmm.
And now she's going to come here to Tennessee in the mountains, and she's going to leave you.
She's not gonna like this at all
Because she doesn't want to be in the mountains. This is not what she's picturing. And he said that he's scared that he's not going to be for her. Like, she's not going to be attracted to him.
He's also just not hearing anything that Olga's saying.
Yeah.
You know, he wants someone to just agree with him.
He goes and
basically.
hangs out with his ex.
Very
and
interesting.
She thinks that he's absolutely crazy. This is Mary.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time she's just like, well, why not me?
That's the thing. Mary just wanted to get dicked down by him,
Mary.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I that was so uncomfortable.
Yes.
To me. Like
It's not about you, Mary.
but also like I didn't. He's been married a couple times.
Right.
He's got kids with different women. Like it just feels like he doesn't really want a like. It feels like he's like there's these types of people that are like relationship people
Right.
that like let me get you in, and then I'll spit you right out.
Right.
Like it's almost like I do think the Russian girl like there's some issues there, but it does feel like his issues are like it feels like it's like an issue narcissist where he's like, whatever people, I don't care what lives I'm bringing into my life, I'm fixing my problems via other people's lives.
Right,
Yes.
and we've seen that. We saw that in the last season with Sasha and Emily.
Yes.
Sasha did the same thing. Now we're going to move on. Lisa is 52. She's from York, Pennsylvania. And we see her in the opening scene. She's getting waxed to go to Nigeria.
So I was just in York.
Yes, how was that?
I went to my favorite bookstore. It's there. And Ashley's from there,
Yeah,
too.
Ashley from
How
90 Day
random.
Fiance
And I'm
lives
like,
in York.
wow,
Yep.
okay. So everyone's there.
And
So she's getting a full body wax.
she's getting a full body wax. She's known him for 2 years. And now we also meet her friend.
Right.
And her friend, Nikki, has a Marilyn Monroe tattoo. It's just the outline of her face. And she also has the Marilyn Monroe piercing.
Which
So-
I hate so much.
It is not great. So she's getting the full body wax. She got divorced 4 years ago because he cheated on her. Her daughter is 15 and she's a hospice caregiver. And he's 30 years old. Now,
Right.
Jared, this is going exactly to what you're suspicious of. They met on Facebook. His name is Usman. They video chat, sometimes totally nude,
Gross.
but he is a celebrity.
Yeah, this
Nigeria.
This doesn't seem like it's gonna go.
What
well.
do you mean? He is a famous. Do you guys know the famous singer Sojaboy? Soja boy.
It's not even about his aspirations. It's about like, is America ready
No.
for
I'm ready.
our biggest R&B star to be walking down a red carpet with a woman from York, Pennsylvania in her 50s.
Right.
Like no matter, like I'm not even talking about like she's also got like this, she's also like, I don't blame him. She is awful.
Oh no, this is.
She is.
I don't blame him at all.
She-
He's trying to get here.
She's
Yeah.
heinous, and she also like. I don't like to call anyone a racist, but like all of the racial implications that she keeps bringing up,
Yes.
she keeps, and it's like
It's a novelty to her.
The sexualization
Yeah.
of black men, like it is like, how hasn't she been canceled 7,000? Like
Seriously.
like she says to, what does she say? They go to get shakes, and she's like, "Why don't you put a little,
a little chocolate in my shake."
yeah, like
Gross.
And then she says to her friend's like, "No, I'm gonna get a strawberry shake." And then she's like, "Oh, why don't you try it once? You might like it." And they're like, what are you talking
It's
about?
like a creepy uncle talking.
Yeah,
you know?
she's very-
All of her references are to I'm having sex
Yes.
with a black man, and like, listen, I don't think I guess I'm in no position to talk about this, but if I were a black guy, I'd be a little skeeved out by this whole thing. Or
Well, if you were living in Nigeria and needed 100%
but that's,
security,
I
Sure.
understand his end game. Like he doesn't give a
Yeah.
shit. But like from our perspective of watching the show, we're
Of
like,
course.
he's a rapper. He wants to come to the U.S. and make his career, and he's maybe using this woman. But the woman isn't like innocent here. Like I
Oh, no, not
I was
at all.
like, ugh.
Well,
Like
right.
every
She's-
time they talked to her, I was just like, I. Also, just thought it was so funny to imagine like him doing rap videos where she's in the video.
Yeah, but-
hilarious.
she's his video home.
video vixen.
Guys, you're saying that he's trying to come to the U.S. to become famous, but I don't know if you guys know this, but he already has 20,000 followers on Instagram.
I think you have 20,000 followers on Instagram.
It's not that many. He also wrote a song for her on Valentine's Day.
Do you know how often we're probably gonna have to hear this song?
I love
on
the
this
song.
show?
It's great.
Uh-huh.
The title is I Will Stay With You.
Uh-huh.
And now we see her cooking, right? So she cooks something for herself. She cooks with all of the butter. This is Noelle style cooking right here. This is Paula Deen. She's cooking with all the butter. And she is in the shortest white silk robe that you ever did see. It is not appropriate at
Right.
all. And she said that they're going to get married in Nigeria because he proposed to her over the video chat. But here's the biggest problem that she's having. She needs to not use a condom with him.
I fainted when she said this.
She really needs
But
to.
this is again back to like the racial implications.
it's
of
very,
all this. Like,
it's very inappropriate.
it's very inappropriate. I felt very uncomfortable watching it.
Yeah.
and you know she's so comfortable.
Oh, she's all the way comfortable.
So like, oh my God. Like I like she thinks that, and it kind of shows you like, it kind of shows you when someone's like, oh, you can't joke about anything these days. Like you have these people that are like,
Yes.
PC culture's ruining stuff. It's like, no, you're outside of the norms of society. Society has left you. Society has left the.
When do you think society was in her?
I don't think it wants to be in her. I just think like society has moved on from the jokes you are making, and maybe someone at the Baskin and Robbins will laugh at it, but that doesn't make it right or not icky.
I think
Like-
she's fine. She seems fine. She
Seems
said that
great.
he always used a condom with his other lovers, I guess. So she just deserves.
Well, this is something that as a man would scare the shit out of me. Like you don't want someone's reason for not using condoms to be, well, I want to feel closer to you. It's like, oh no, you're trying to trap me.
Yes.
You're trying to.
Can you
Yes.
imagine? Well, she's 52 years old, so I don't know if she's trying to have a baby, but that would be the cherry on top. I'll tell you
Yes.
that.
Also, to talk about it so openly on TV, like you're just like she is a half an inch away from saying, I want to be dressed in his cum, like on TV. Like she's on the doorstep of getting
Yes.
into
Yes.
bodily function.
Yeah,
talk.
but guys, she just had him tested because, that's her dog.
She had her dog tested.
She had him tested. That's
I
what she
mean-
said. That was a quote. She just had him tested. He calls her 25 times a day, and she really likes him because he treats her nicer than the other guys in her life.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Well-
of course. Well, this is the other thing that like none of them really like this is the this is I love comparing these to any long distance relationship because I get so many questions about long distance relationships. Should I do it? Should I
Right.
not? And it's like just know that it's easier. It's easier to make these promises and be nice online than it is to in person.
course
like
it is.
Sure.
It's like, but these are like the most like someone was like, well, he lives in New York and I live in Boston, and it's like it's the same thing. It's the same amount of effort, and the excuse is the same. The reason you go 3 hours, more than 3 hours away from your parents for college, is because they give you a warning on when they're going to come to visit.
Right.
It's the same reason
You have the
date
control.
someone. Yeah, it's the same reason you date someone who's 3 hours plus away, because you have control over when you make the effort, when you have to get dressed up, when you have to make. You can do it in a combined. When your parents came to visit college, you go, all right, I'm with them for 2 hours.
Right.
So what am I
Sure.
going to do? We'll get through
It's
the 2 hours.
contained.
Yeah.
The
so it's like,
interactions are contained.
so when you hear her go, he's nicer than anyone. Yeah, I can send heart emojis and be really nice to people I don't
That's
fucking
true.
know.
Well, speaking of emojis, let's move on to Yolanda. She's 51. She's from Las Vegas, and she's working out as we see her. I don't know what she's wearing to work out. She like put together an outfit, I guess, for the
Yes.
television.
Yes.
She is the cutest Claire Huxtable I've ever seen.
I love her.
She's adorable. She just lost 150 pounds.
She looks good.
Yeah.
She looks great.
She looks great.
She has amazing energy.
Yes.
And so she had a partner for 30 years. His name was Dwayne. And then he got sick. He had kidney disease and then he died.
He was also in jail.
Well, we didn't find that out yet. They have 6 kids. They have 3 girls and 3 boys, 17 to 29.
So now they all live there.
They all live there. She's speed walking.
Yes.
And she's saying that her kids think that she's filming a weight loss show. She meets a guy. He's 40 or 41.
I didn't catch that part. That's funny.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't
he's
realize.
40 or 41. She goes back and forth on that. So we're not sure. He's from Manchester, England. And his name is Williams.
He looks like
He's a bodybuilder.
yeah, he looks like the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy, Dave Bautista.
He looks like every single scary wrestler.
He looks like every guy on Instagram.
He looks like
honestly.
every guy on Instagram
Yep.
for sure. Now, speaking of emojis, he put a heart emoji next to her name and texted her, how could you not fall in love with him?
of course.
I loved her story because it's like when you explain before the 90 Day Fiance, we just talked about like
Right.
Ed is kind of the guy version that you think of. She's the female version you think of.
Right,
that
because she's a
actually
little
makes
bit
sense.
needy.
Yes.
She's needy, but she's also like a little lonely. She's got these 6 kids.
They're about to leave the
They're all
nest.
moving the house. She is afraid of being alone. Her husband has passed away. She's the type that goes, I had $100,000 stolen from me. My whole life savings
Yes.
was stolen.
Yes.
Because you do listen to her story. We all are sitting here agreeing that we like her.
Yes.
We
Love
all
her.
like her. And I like her family, the kids,
Me
the way they
too.
talked about,
What they're worried about.
What they're worried
Yeah.
about and their concerns. It did feel like you were at the family dinner.
It
I
was
was like,
very
look
like
at them.
wholesome.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
and the kids, the way they communicate with the mom, the way they disagreed. Like, it was actually very nice. And you have this guy who, like, when does all of us look at him and go, there's no way. You know,
Right.
like, we all look at the pictures we see online and we go, here's a problem. But it's so funny, the generational difference, because she's saying, just like she said, the heart next to the name.
Yeah, the
all
rose.
of us
Yes.
know that we can go on our phones and put our heart next to any name we
Yeah.
want.
Yeah, but
Like,
he drew it maybe.
but that's the thing. Like, she doesn't really even understand
Sure.
the internet versus the reality. Like, she's probably signing on to Instagram via her computer. Like,
Yes.
it felt, she's like, well, he slipped into the DMs, and like, you see the kids be like, you can do that at that age. You know how to do that. Like, it was such an interesting.
She's like, can you believe this fellow? He messaged me on Instagram?
Yeah, but then she gave her reasons for, like, she's like, it just felt nice. It's
Yeah.
all the
very
reasons she
sweet.
gave, I was on board with, but it was like, it can't be this guy. Like,
No.
you know, like, she's right, but it's the wrong situation.
Well, she
Right.
told him that she was 45, but she's actually 51. And to be honest with you, besides other things that we'll talk about, I don't think that's a big of a deal. I think she
No.
looks great.
So do I.
And I think that she's presenting herself as herself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, you shouldn't really lie about your age, but at the same time, like, you could see her.
Yes.
Do you like her?
Yeah.
What,
Then
how
you
old
like
did
her.
she say she
She
was?
said that she's 45, but she's 51.
Yeah, again, the range is like,
It's-
she
I think
looks
it's
good.
fine.
I think
I
you get what
agree.
you see. I
She's
gotta
not
say-
really filtering herself. She's like, this is what I
Right.
look like.
I mean,
so
I'm not. Yeah, she probably doesn't even know that you can put a filter on an
Right.
Instagram picture.
Exactly.
So
like,
she's going in 1 week to England. And also, I want to say this. Her green wing eyeliner look, loved it.
Yeah.
she is the type of person where you're like, oh my God, someone has to chaperone you. Like,
Well,
someone
yes.
has to, like,
Speaking
Yes.
of chaperoning, so she told her oldest daughter about him, and they're in a thrift business together. So I guess they sell like clothes maybe on Poshmark or something like that, Cara. So she doesn't want her to go alone. And she's, Yolanda's very scared that the kids are going to be upset when she tells them.
Right.
Also, very nice couch.
Very nice couch.
Good couch family.
Very
Me and
nice
Noelle,
house.
big on couches.
Yes.
Any reality show, we see a good couch, you got to point it out.
Yes.
They deserve the credit. Now, the moment that we've all been waiting for. She is going to have a call with Williams. Noelle. He has a very nice British accent.
Oh, it
Go.
sounded really British. It sounded so authentic.
It sounded like Zayed.
That's what it was. She was talking to Zayed.
She was talking to a man with an Arabic accent.
Yes.
For 7 months. And then he also, we find out, wanted her to pay for his ticket there.
that's where you get.
Yes.
That's where you start to get like,
Yes.
you're like, okay, you're already asking for money.
Jared-
That's where
Jared-
I feel upset because
That-
I feel
okay.
she's so innocent.
She is. And
Yeah.
that's the
I
thing with
love
the-
a good British accent. What
are you talking about? Right.
Yeah, it's all like, this is the person you expect to get fucked
Yeah.
over
Yes.
on these shows, and it's like, you want to, like, at that point the show, like, I don't mind when it's two liars.
Yes.
I don't mind when it's
Yeah.
like,
When you're like, you don't know who you hate more.
Yeah.
sure, exactly. I mind when the TV comes in and they go, like, at some point a producer's got to go, I can't work on this
Sure.
version, because there was points where you're like, she is so. I mean, if you think about it,
Nice.
in any relationship, the honest one gets fucked. So,
Always.
like, always the person, if you're there being like, I want it to be serious, I want to keep getting to know you, the person who doesn't want to get to know you is the one that gets screwed over. So, like, she's going to get screwed over.
She is.
Like, there's no question. And the daughter even knows that. You can see how upset she was.
Well, do you think he sounds a little drunk maybe on the phone? Do you remember the phone call?
I mean, I don't know if he sounded drunk, but he sounded like out of it.
he sounded out of
kind
it.
Yeah.
I'm like, so Zayed from 2 seasons ago, he was from Tunisia.
Yes.
We remember Zayed and Rebecca,
Yes.
and he had a very similar accent. Maybe he's from Tunisia. So now we learn a little bit more about her ex, Dwayne.
Right.
So they weren't married. They were just partners. And 6 years ago, he got locked up.
Right.
He got a little jammed up. He got, I'm sure it wasn't his fault. He
Never is.
He wound up Now, he told her, please don't come visit me. The kids don't come visit me. They never saw him again, and then he died in jail?
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful.
It also felt like I understand, like, respect his wishes.
But like...
Especially, he's sick.
You have 6 children, and you're just, okay, say goodbye to daddy forever, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like, again, like we talked about this a little bit before, like people opt for comfort versus the reality a lot of times.
Yeah, but this is a little bit much.
Yes.
Now, we sit down at the table. This is the most forced dinner conversation I've ever seen in my life. Lots of nervous giggling. And then she reveals to her 6 children, ages 17 to 29, prime age of technology.
Yes.
That they've never FaceTimed. And that his phone is broken.
But it was funny. You could see the kids just all go, come on. Like, you could see the kids.
The kids are like, so his last name is a first name, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
It was really upsetting.
It was upsetting, but it was funny to see the kids reacting like the audience.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like, the phone doesn't work.
And I felt bad. She got so upset. Then she starts crying. She didn't want to be alone. And it made me feel so terrible.
It made me feel sad. But like, come on, Yolanda, do better. You could do better. You're a nice lady.
You're a nice lady.
I think that's like, all these are metaphors for real relationships. You know, there's so many people that are like, so many people stay in relationships because they've been in the relationship. Like, they're like, well, I put in 8 years.
I put in a few years.
I put in a few months. She's saying, I put in time and effort into this person. I have to see it through. She even says that. She's like, I gotta go.
I can understand that.
Well, I would understand why she wants to meet him, but also why are you not? And again, this is probably because of, I don't want to say her age, but maybe her generation. She's not looking more into it technology wise.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I don't think she even knows the level of lying that can happen online.
She's
I think
very gullible.
I think she thinks like, it's kind of like
well, if he has a picture up, it's probably
it's got to be real.
You can't use someone else's picture. That's not right.
It's like the Houston Astros got caught for cheating, and then everyone's like the cheating that they got caught for. Like, there are people are like, no, baseball has had a history of sign stealing, and we were looking at a hand, and then like, you were like motioning to a first base coach who was motioning to someone else, and maybe once in a while, now they're like, oh, wait a minute, they were using technology and buzzers and real cameras that can see within like 4 centimeters. Like, she's dealing in the old baseball world, and we're all dealing in
where
the
she
real.
Thinks like you can't put up a picture of someone else because that's not you.
Her version of cynicism is so different.
Poor Yolanda.
I feel bad for her.
Yeah.
I love her.
I didn't feel bad for Caesar, but I feel bad for her.
Caesar was a joke.
Yes.
Guys, this has been a great episode. I want to just, before we go, make sure that you know about my new podcast, Only in New York, with host Hemda from Keith and the Girl and Andrea Allen from the Hot Mess Comedy Hour. You can find Jared. Jared, where do you want to...
Jared Freid on Instagram. I yell at The Bachelor every Monday at Jared Freid. And the podcast, J-Train Podcast and You Up Podcast.
Awesome. You could find me at TracyCarnazzo.com. You could find me on Instagram and Twitter at Trixie Tuzini, TrixieTuzzini. And again, make sure you check out my other podcast, Only in New York. And as always, Teen Mom Trash Talk with Noelle Winters. Noelle, where can we find you?
You can find me Noe Girl on Twitter or Noe_Bear 810 on Instagram.
Awesome. And guys, we also have 90 Day Fiance Trash Talk Magnets. So make sure you're following us on Instagram for more info on the new merch at 90 Day Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Guys, we'll see you in the Facebook group to discuss this episode, 90 Day Fiance Trash Talk. Bye.
Bye.